Welcome to TIMFD. Today is my favorite day with your hosts, David Towner and Sam McEwen. If this podcast does speak to you, please like, share, and comment. Let your friends know all about us. And now, here's your hosts, Dave and Sam. All right. Well, folks, welcome back to Today is My Favorite Day. Sam McEwen here. As you can see, I'm not with David Towner, but I am with Dave Dorsey, who is what is your title? I forgot to ask that question.
I am the Development Director for Oasis Pregnancy Care Centers.
Development Director for Oasis Pregnancy Centers. And we're here to talk about Oasis. We're here to talk about some of the effects of the recent Supreme Court decision. And as you all know, Dave and I are both pastors. We are a faith-based organization. And these are our opinions, and these are some of the things that we stand for. So if you disagree, your best bet would be probably to turn the podcast off now, but Dave and I are going to get into some things about Oasis. Okay. Dave, could you tell us a little bit about your background?
Well, thanks. I appreciate being here. And yes, I am. I used to joke about being a rare bird down here because I am actually a native of the Tampa Bay area.
Oh, wow.
Born and raised here.
That is rare.
I'm one of the few that hasn't moved in or moved out. And growing up in the North Tampa area.
So you bought a lot of real estate now, and you're going to retire wealthy, right?
If only, Sam.
Only, right?
If only, yes. So I was born and raised here. Chamberlain High School grad in North Tampa. My wife and I are both we're high school sweethearts from Chamberlain.
Okay.
And started in a business career and did that for a number of years. Ended up working for a company of some dear friends that we all went to church together. During that time, I served on the leadership team, lay position in the church that I was a part of in the North Tampa area. And then through a set of circumstances, found myself in transition, as they say, through economic things and everything like that. And in the meantime, the pastor of the church, who was and still is a very dear friend, I'd been serving on a leadership team with him, and some of the other guys in the church had been talking to him about filling a second seat position in the church, an executive pastor, or in my case, it was called director of ministries.
Right.
And so the opportunity to re-engage in the business world or join the church staff, my wife and I prayed very hard about it. And the decision was made that I would join the church staff. So I was the executive pastor of that church for 9.5 years. And then a little over 3 years ago, the Lord opened up an opportunity for me to join the staff of a very rapidly growing pregnancy center in the North Tampa and Central Pasco area as a development director.
And that's where we're at today.
That's where we are today.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about Oasis. How did Oasis get started?
Well, it's again, God's sense of humor in that Pete Castellani is our founder.
Okay.
Pete worked for IBM for 31 and a half years, and primarily up in upstate New York, where he's from originally. And while he was there, God really got a hold of his life, and he and his wife volunteered at a pregnancy resource center in New York. So he got his feet wet serving up there. In order to advance in his career, IBM offered him the opportunity to come down to Florida, take over the what was then the Eckerd drug account for those folks that have lived in the Tampa Bay area for a long time. So he moved down to the Tampa area, and then as he and his wife were very engaged up there, they decided to plug in down here, started volunteering, served on the board of a couple pregnancy care centers in the area. And then in January of 2009, after 31 and a half years, he became a victim of what is termed a resource action taking place, meaning that he was laid off by IBM.
Yeah.
And
it's funny the names they all come up with to let us know we've been laid off, right?
I guess it's just to kind of soften the blow. But,
yes.
As he tells the story, 5 days later, at 3:30 in the morning, which he says is the only time God could get his attention, woke him up out of a sound sleep. And though he's not into visions and hadn't been up to that point, he said, as clear as I'm talking to you right now, Sam, he heard God really challenge him to start a pregnancy resource center in Central Pasco because there was no services there.
Okay.
So determined to start it near a high school. We're fairly close to Land O'Lakes High School.
Okay.
And so 9 months later, not coincidental, but interestingly and funny, 9 months later, Oasis was birthed in Land O'Lakes. And so we started there. And then in 2013, God allowed for an expansion into the Wesley Chapel area. And for those people that live in this area know, Wesley Chapel is very rapidly growing, and that center became very busy very quickly. Then in 2018, God opened up another opportunity to merge with a pregnancy resource center that had been in existence down in the North Tampa area for well over 30 years, I believe.
Okay.
And how God orchestrated that, within 3 months, the two centers merged, or the two entities merged. And so that became our third center down in the North Tampa area near Bearson, Nebraska, for those folks that live in the Tampa area. And then last year, May of 2021, God blessed us to be able to open our fourth center up in Dade City.
Okay. So kind of spread out a little bit, but
yes,
it's in areas that are definitely in need of the center.
That's what we saw. Yes.
So here's, and this isn't on our list, so I'm kind of throwing Dave a little bit of a curveball, but a lot of folks mistake what Planned Parenthood does and what an organization like Oasis does. Mm-hmm. Can you briefly give our listeners the difference?
Sure. That is a touchy question. You're right, mm-hmm. but it is very important that our folks know, because sometimes someone will come up to me, even in a presentation or after a presentation at a church or a civic organization, and they'll ask me, "Are you guys like Planned Parenthood?" Mm-hmm. And I have to explain to them that really our services are like apples and oranges. Mm-hmm. In fact, I will tell you that one of the things that we offer our clients is options counseling. Because whatever decision a client makes, we want them to be as informed as possible with all three of the decisions. It's either to adopt, and we have vetted about 5 different adoption agencies in our area that we can, if the client chooses that route, we can introduce them to 2 or 3, probably in their geographic area. We can't favor one,
right?
But if they choose one, we can do the introduction and let a trained person from that adoption agency walk that journey with that client. We talk to them about parenting. Obviously, we'll talk about that a little bit more, mm-hmm. but that's what we fight for. We fight for the life of the child,
right.
And we want to provide them all the opportunity to learn how they can be an effective parent. Now, we do not promote, nor do we reference, but we want that client to know as much accurate information about abortion as we can give them. We understand that at that time when they come through our door, it's an emotional time.
Right.
And it's going to stay emotional, but we also want to balance that with accurate information about all 3 options, so that as best they can, the decision that they make is one that's made as informed as possible and not strictly driven by emotion. I can't speak to all the services that Planned Parenthood provides, but I do understand that they are more of a medical facility, and as such offer primarily medical options. And obviously, I mean, the numbers bear out that the biggest part of the medical procedures, the financially, they're driven primarily by the medical procedures that they provide, and obviously abortion is one of those medical procedures.
Right. Yeah, and I think a lot of folks don't understand, we are a Christ-centered organization. We believe in the tenets of Scripture, but we also have folks who have to make a choice.
Yes.
And so, and we mentioned a little bit where the locations are. So we have Tampa, Land O'Lakes, Wesley Chapel, and Dade City. That's correct, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And so you touched a little bit on the counseling and the options, but mm-hmm. what are all the services that Oasis provides?
Yes, that part to me is kind of what sets us apart, in that when a client comes through our door, we never know what the story's going to be. Most often, it's a story that has some trauma involved, mm-hmm. And so we try and meet them there and provide as comfortable a setting as we possibly can to help put them at ease. More often than not, they've gone to a Walgreens or a CVS, gotten one of the home tests, and which may or may not be reliable. So in many cases, they're coming to our center to kind of validate that or find out if in fact. So we provide a lab quality pregnancy test right at the beginning.
Okay.
And then if it is a positive test, if it's a negative test, there's a lot of whoosh.
Yeah.
But then we can start a conversation with them about maybe some of their life choices that they're making. If it is positive, then the next step would likely be an ultrasound. And again, I want to emphasize very clearly that all the services that we provide at all 4 of our centers and all the pregnancy resource centers around the Bay Area and around the country, all the services are provided at no cost to our client.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Everything. We have licensed and certified sonographers that will provide an ultrasound for them so we can learn, in essence, how far along they are. Mm-hmm. Now, I will add as an aside that whatever decision a woman makes, if she decides to terminate, in Florida, and I think in most states, it is required that they have an ultrasound to determine how far along that baby is. Right. Because there are actually two types of abortions. There's what's called a chemical abortion that is available to them up to 10 weeks. Right. And then beyond 10 weeks, it becomes a surgical abortion. Right. So, but facilities, even abortion centers, are not required to show the picture. We have a big screen TV up on the wall because we want to be the first to introduce them to their child. Right, right. And so they'll go through the process of an ultrasound, and then we provide the options counseling to them to let them know what's available. Beyond that, if they choose life, and that's what we pray they do, they can begin a process with us called Learning and Earning. And I tell people this, I wish my wife and I had known about the educational component because we could have benefited greatly. I mean, we didn't necessarily need the other services, but we teach a woman or a couple how to care for themselves prenatally, how to care for a newborn, how to care for a 3-month-old, how to care for a 6-month-old.
I wish you would have told me that.
I'm telling you. And then there's a postpartum depression component to this.
Oh my, yeah.
There's a financial management component to this. In essence, we provide a curriculum, you know, with a trained volunteer or one of our staff meeting regularly with the client to go over these lessons to help them get as solid a foundation that first year of the child's life as we possibly can. Okay. Now, as they learn, they're also earning, and they're earning points. They earn points if they attend, do the lesson. You know, there's any number of ways to earn points. Each one of our 4 centers has what we call a baby boutique in it. Okay. And at Oasis, we take in, and just about all the pregnancy resources around the country take in new and gently used baby clothes, baby items, all that kind of stuff. And once a week, we have these grandmothers. I love them, man. They're great. They come into our center, and they will grade out the clothes or any of the items that some folks will bring in to donate. And their criterion is if we would put that on our grandchild, we will put it out for display in the baby boutique. Okay. And so as they earn points, they can over time use those points to, quote, purchase these clothes. So it really is giving our clients a sense of dignity that they're earning the right. They're not just being given things. Yeah. And so they can shop. Now, the only thing we don't take in used are baby beds and car seats for liability issues. Yes. Right. However, it's really nice in that if a client, and many of our clients do, earn enough points to get a baby bed or a car seat, we can provide them a link, and they can go online and they can order a brand new baby bed, mattress, car seat to have it shipped directly to their home or their apartment, wherever they're living.
I'm assuming that's a corporate partnership of some sort?
Well, it can be. We've got some, but then there's some that, yes, we've got some connection there. In some cases, it's just buying it as anyone would online. And so we can provide, this is how I say it, we really can provide everything that woman or family needs for that child, the first year of the child's life, at no cost to them.
Wow. That's amazing. You know, the education program, I guess, is something I really wasn't totally aware of, but that is so vital.
Absolutely.
You know, you have generally a young mother or young couple, first time pregnant. I would assume that's the main demographic, right?
It can be, but it's interesting that we're seeing more that it's their second and third child. Okay. We'll talk about that a little bit, about the Supreme Court decision and how it's impacted us and the type of client that we're seeing. Okay. So, and then you mentioned one that I know I have a family member who would have benefited greatly, and that's the postpartum depression area. Can you speak a little bit to that? Well, I being a guy, it's really hard to do that.
I know.
But the issue is that we have trained volunteers. These are women who have been through the experience and have gone through childbirth and raising children, and in many cases because of life circumstances that some of our clients face, these volunteers, our client advocates, can become like a mom to them. and it's a safe place. And so it allows that client, that woman in the room, in the counseling room, to be able to, not just be learning a lesson, but to be able to kind of talk honestly about what's going on emotionally with her right now as she's going through, experience pregnancy, and then after childbirth, and then talking about, will I ever get a full night's sleep again, kind of thing. All those things that all of us have been through.
Right.
And so it's very reassuring to know that she can talk to a woman who's experienced it.
Yeah, I would imagine that's just phenomenal service to offer, Dave. Excuse me. So we talked a little bit about the education. We talked about the ability to earn points to purchase stuff. I know that you have at least one sponsor in this area, and I just want to talk about Jack and Sabrina just a minute.
That's very fair.
Just because they're good friends of mine, they're good friends of yours.
Sure.
And how does the program that Jack is doing with the donations and stuff work? In the way he does it.
Well, I will just talk in the bigger picture, because people ask me constantly, how are you guys funded? I mean, we're offering all these services at no cost. How are you funded?
Yeah, that was the next question.
That's okay. Well, it kind of ties in together, because we are blessed. We have a number of individuals that support us on a regular basis. That could be monthly, that could be quarterly, but we are very blessed because of the connections we've made through a number of the local churches to be supported by a number of individuals. We also have a number of churches that support us through their mission outreach and things like that. So we're very blessed. I think we're getting close to 30 churches now that support us regularly. Again, monthly, quarterly, however they do it. We do get some grants. There are some family foundations that believe in what we do. And then we have businesses. And I'm not a creative person, but I am blown away at how creative we have some of our business owners that believe in what we're doing. Jack, you mentioned, he has the Cool Cribs program that he calls it. And in essence, he has, I think it's 3 different either products or services that he offers, that if a client, one of his customers, purchases that product or service, he gives them a card saying, congratulations, you have just donated $100 to the Cool Cribs program for Oasis Pregnancy Center.
Right.
I am blown away by that.
Yeah.
And so then Jack will take that and he'll send it in as support for our ministry. I have a real estate agent that is very creative. And what she has done is she has picked out 4 charities, Metropolitan Ministries, us, Habitat for Humanity, and I think there's one more. And when she sells a home, she has a description of each one on the sheet, and she'll hand it to the new homeowner and say, which one would you like for me to name you as a donor for one of these ministries? And so we've been blessed that way. I've just been intrigued. That's just 2 that come to mind right now, but there are a number of others, business owners who have creatively come up with a way to support Oasis.
I know Jack, and they've got kind of I think it's like half a crib.
Yes, in his showroom.
In his showroom.
He's crazy.
And yeah, he is. And every once in a while he'll do a Chamber of Commerce thing where he, bring your diapers, bring this. And I'm assuming that diapers is a huge donation thing that you...
Absolutely. That was one of the things, another part of the free service. In order to incentivize our clients to continue coming back, we actually give them a pack of diapers each week, along with a pack of wipes, to... again, another free item that we can provide to them. So each time they come, they get a pack of diapers. So Sam, we go through a lot of diapers.
I'll bet. Well, I mean, it's been a lot of years since I had to change the diapers.
Me too, brother.
But, and I think I'll get out of that stage. My youngest grandson is like 19 months and he's in Poland, so I probably won't have to ever change that diaper.
There you go.
But diapers is, and it's a huge expense.
Yes, it is.
So let me ask you this: with the latest formula issue, did you were you supplying any formula or helping folks in that area?
Yes, we were, and yes, we are. We have been blessed. Connections in Pasco County and among churches and some of the civic organizations that I'm a part of. We've been able to make the need known, and we've had people really looking out for us. So we've been able to keep, I wouldn't say a tremendous supply of formula, but a sufficient supply of formula that we can continue to provide to our clients.
That's awesome. And especially, as hard as it's been to find, I had a friend up in Wyoming who his child took a very specific type of formula because of a condition, right?
Sure.
And to try and find that. And I ended up finding 2 containers. It was $35. I'm blown away as to how folks can afford to be able to do this.
Well, we're hopeful that that's going to settle down. I think the production company that was shut down is now starting to get back online.
I've heard that. Yeah.
Hope it's going to settle down.
It should help with the supply chain a little bit.
Let's hope so.
Yep. So Dave, we're running out of time for today. I want to come back because I have a whole bunch of things we really want to go over yet to get the whole meat of what Oasis does and how people can help. But before we end our session today, one of the things we ask everybody who comes on is the show is entitled Today is My Favorite Day. So what can you tell me about today and why it's your favorite day today?
That's easy, Sam. Among many things, I am married to my best friend, and as I tell people, she still smiles at me every night, so I am most blessed.
There you go. That is a great position to be in. I'm there myself. I appreciate that. So, folks, thank you for listening. This has been Sam McEwen with Dave Dorsey from Oasis Pregnancy Center. Look for us next time on Today is My Favorite Day. Have a good day. Be blessed. Thank you for listening to TIMFD. Today is My Favorite Day. The views, comments, and opinions expressed here today are those of the hosts and guests alone, and Dave and Sam are solely responsible for the content of this podcast. TIMFD, Today is My Favorite Day, is produced and directed by Alex Korn. Music is composed and performed by Chuck Vaught. Thank you for listening. Have a great day, live intentionally, and be very blessed, my friends.